They remembered your favorite song on the first date, before you had told anyone else in years. They texted you good morning before your eyes were fully open. They made plans for a trip you had mentioned once in the middle of a sentence. By week 3, they said, "I have never felt this way about anyone." And you believed them. Because why would you not? It felt extraordinary. You felt extraordinary. The most seen you had ever been. That feeling, electric, total, addictive, was not an accident. It was not love. It was an operation. And it was running on your own neurobiology. Love bombing is not intense romantic feeling. It is a deliberate manipulation technique in which someone floods you with overwhelming attention, affection, and the experience of being chosen, in order to establish psychological control before you know what is happening. It was first documented in cult recruitment. Leaders would identify the most vulnerable prospective members, the lonely, the grieving, the recently heartbroken, and flood them with warmth, belonging, and the sensation of finally being understood. By the time the demands and the control began, the target was already bonded. The same technique migrated into romantic relationships, and in 2026, with 24-hour messaging, constant access, and dating apps that let someone study every public thing you have ever said before they meet you, it is more sophisticated and more difficult to identify than it has ever been. Here is what they did to your brain. When you fall for someone genuinely, your brain releases dopamine, the reward chemical, the same neurotransmitter activated by food, music, and substances of abuse. Helen Fisher's landmark brain imaging studies showed that simply looking at a photograph of a new romantic partner activates the same reward regions as other powerful, pleasurable stimuli. Your brain at this stage treats romantic attraction like a drug. Now here is the critical difference between real love and love bombing. In a genuine relationship, dopamine builds gradually. It is modulated by trust developing over time, by two nervous systems slowly learning that they're safe with each other. In love bombing, dopamine is delivered in a tidal wave. Research shows dopamine levels spike 5 to 10 times above baseline during the love bombing phase. Comparable to cocaine, comparable to methamphetamine. You are not falling in love. You are being chemically intoxicated. Simultaneously, oxytocin is released, the bonding hormone. Released during physical contact, sustained eye contact, moments of being genuinely understood. Love bombing engineers all of these at accelerated pace at a natural intensity. Deep conversations in week 1. Physical intimacy in week 2. Declarations of soulmate-level connection in week 3. Each experience releases oxytocin. Each release deepens the bond. Your body is attaching to this person before your mind has had time to evaluate whether they deserve the attachment. And here is the part that explains why you could not see it. When dopamine and oxytocin flood your system simultaneously, they suppress the prefrontal cortex. The prefrontal cortex is the part of your brain that detects red flags, that says, "This is moving too fast," that asks, "Why does someone I met 2 weeks ago already know every vulnerability I have?" Love bombing does not just feel like love. It chemically disables the part of you that would have recognized it was not. Here are 7 signs you were being love bombed. 1. The pace was accelerating without your input. They were talking about moving in together before you had decided they were trustworthy. Planning a future you had not agreed to live in yet. In healthy attachment, intensity builds alongside safety. In love bombing, it arrives before safety exists. 2. They seem to know exactly what you needed. Your childhood wound, your deepest insecurity, the specific way you needed to be reassured. This is called data mining. Love bombers gather information, your preferences, your fears, your previous relationship failures, not because they care about you, because they are mapping your vulnerabilities to use later. 3. The compliments felt almost too good. You are different from everyone I have ever met. You are the most intelligent person in any room. I have been waiting my whole life for someone like you. These are not observations, they are manufactured mirrors designed to reflect your ideal self back at you. The love bomber is not telling you who you are, they're telling you who you most want to be. And for that reflection, you will do almost anything. 4. They disliked your boundaries when you were unavailable, even briefly. They expressed hurt, disappointment, or pressure. Healthy love says, of course, take your time. Love bombing says, I thought you felt the same way I do. The discomfort you felt at their reaction to your no, that was a test. It was not the last one. 5. You started editing yourself, not immediately, gradually. The thing you said that made them go quiet for an hour, the opinion you stopped sharing after you saw how they responded the first time, you became smaller and called it being considerate. 6. The relationship had no neutral gear. Everything was intensity, either the highest high you had ever felt, or a distance so cold it felt like a punishment. There was no ordinary Tuesday, no comfortable quiet, because ordinary Tuesday does not keep you chemically dependent. 7. When they pulled away for the first time, you felt desperate. Not just sad, not just disappointed, desperate, frantic, replaying every conversation to find what you did wrong. That was not love, that was cortisol. Your brain, now strongly bonded via oxytocin and conditioned to expect reward, experienced their unavailability as a genuine threat. The panic you felt was neurological, not evidence of how much you loved them. Now, why were you targeted? This is the question that carries the most shame, and the answer deserves to be said clearly. You were targeted because of your strengths, not your weaknesses. Love bombers select for empathy, for emotional intelligence, for the capacity to give without keeping score. For people who believe that if they love someone hard enough, that person will eventually become who they pretended to be at the start. Research confirms that people whose early attachment experiences were inconsistent, caregivers who were sometimes warm, sometimes cold, whose affection had to be earned, are particularly vulnerable. Not because they are broken, because their nervous system learned that love comes with uncertainty, that intensity is familiar, that the chase is how love is supposed to feel. The love bomber did not find a weakness, they found someone whose definition of love had already been shaped by someone else's failure. The 3 phases. Phase 1, idealize. You are perfect, you are the one. The relationship is a fairy tale that only the 2 of you could understand. This is the love bombing phase. Its purpose is to create the deepest possible attachment in the shortest possible time. Phase 2, devalue. The fairy tale ends without announcement. Sudden coldness, criticism that arrives from nowhere. The love you were promised replaced by silence or contempt. You spend this entire phase trying to get back to phase 1, desperately. Because your brain is chemically dependent on the reward it was trained to expect. Phase 3, discard. They leave, or they make you leave, or they make the relationship so unbearable that leaving feels like your decision, while ensuring you will always wonder whether you gave up too soon. The discard is not the end. It is frequently followed by hoovering, a return with renewed love bombing to restart the cycle. And every time the cycle restarts, the bond deepens. The leaving becomes harder. The confusion becomes more complete. Why leaving feels like drug withdrawal. Research shows it takes approximately 90 to 180 days for your brain to fully reset its dopamine receptors and reward pathways. After love bombing ends, 90 to 180 days. 3 to 6 months. Not because you were weak, not because you loved too much, because your brain was structurally altered by an artificial dopamine flood. And structural alterations take time to reverse. During that period, you will experience what neuroscientists describe as neural cross-sensitization. Your brain becomes temporarily more vulnerable to other addictive behaviors. This is why the standard advice, no contact, is not just emotional protection. It is neurological prescription. Without continued stimulation, without responses that restart the dopamine cycle, the reward pathways slowly return to their baseline state. You cannot think your way out of this. You cannot logic your way out of this. The oxytocin and dopamine that created the attachment are not modulated by information. You can know exactly what happened and still feel desperate for the person who did it. That is not failure. That is chemistry. Now, the grief. The hardest part of recovering from love bombing is not the anger. The anger is clean. The anger makes sense. The hardest part is the grief. Because you are grieving someone who never existed. The person who remembered your favorite song, who texted good morning, who made you feel like the one. That person was a performance, a carefully constructed mirror designed to reflect your ideal self back at you. The person who actually existed behind it, the one who devalued you, who discarded you, who restarts the cycle when they want you back. That person was always there. The fairy tale was the disguise, and it is entirely normal to miss the disguise, to grieve a future that was never real, to feel loss for a connection that was manufactured. The pain of that grief is not evidence that you were foolish. It is evidence that your capacity for love, real love, was genuine. Theirs was not. How to protect yourself next time. 1. Learn to recognize what real intimacy feels like. Real intimacy is slow. It is built through small moments of consistency, through someone who shows up the same way on Thursday morning as they did on Saturday night. If a relationship is accelerating faster than trust is building, that gap is information. 2. Notice how their intensity makes you feel, not just in the euphoria, in the moments when you are tired, when you cannot match their energy, when you need ordinary. Love accommodates ordinary. Love bombing cannot afford it. 3. Pay attention to what happens when you say no. A small no, a boundary so minor it barely registers. The response to that small no is a preview of everything that comes later. 4. Trust the sensation in your nervous system that something is moving too fast. That sensation is not anxiety, it is intelligence. 5. Know that butterflies in your stomach, the specific electric desperation of not knowing if someone will text back. That feeling is not love. That is cortisol. That is your nervous system. Reading uncertainty is danger. Real love does not make you feel desperate. Real love makes you feel safe. Here is what I want you to know. You are not here because you are naive. You are here because someone studied the specific architecture of your attachment system and built a performance designed to match it perfectly. They chose you because you were the most likely to give everything. Because your capacity for love, your empathy, your loyalty, your willingness to see the best in people were exactly the qualities they needed to exploit. You were not a victim of your weakness. You were a victim of your humanity, and your humanity is not something to fix. Drop a red dot in the comments if someone ever made you feel like you were the one, and then disappeared. Send this to someone who is still defending the person who destroyed them. They are not protecting love. They are protecting a memory that was never real. Revealing Darkside, dark psychology. New episode every Friday.